You know how they usually say simplicity in design is very important? Well, it doesn't hold true with Stumpsmash. So of course, what's going on everybody? My name is Blitzwinger and welcome back to another Skylanders Giants Skylander review, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my brand new acquisitions to my Skylander collection, and that is of course Stumpsmash. So let's get rolling, shall we? If you guys don't know how these reviews work, basically I take a look at the toy component of these Skylanders, just right over here. That was my fingers. Don't be scared. Do not fear. We take a look at the toy component, after which we cut to some gameplay. We take a look at the upgrades as well as the statistics, and then I give my opinion 1 to 10, or 0 to 10 I should say. No one has ever earned lower than a 6, so I don't see anyone earning that anytime soon. But what was I saying? My goodness. But of course after that, after I give my rating, we discuss things in the comment section. So of course watch this video and then make your voice be heard in the comment section below, letting me know if you like this particular Skylander. So today's subject and today's case of analysis will be the one and only Stumpsmash. So let's get rolling. As I said before, they usually say that in design simplicity is key, and there are components about Stumpsmash that I really like. I think that I love the hammers. I love the arm hammers. They're really rubbery and such. They do look cool, and they're definitely neato looking. But first of all, the paint job is really boring. I feel like they could have gone with maybe like as good of a hue that they picked. I think they could have gone with something a little bit more detailed, just because if I had bought this figure on its own, I would be disappointed. Genuinely, I would. Because it came in the triple pack, I don't feel as bad having spent money on it, because it was a part of that package deal. You know, I bought it in a pack with Sonic Boom and Sprocket, so make sure you go check that unboxing out. But cheap plugs for the win. But I am a little disappointed with his design. Gameplay, we'll get to that in just a moment, but design-wise, he's definitely not the best-looking character. There are some cool things about him. I love the kind of screaming face he's got. Like, his mouth is basically like if someone came with an axe, like someone was chopping a wood and just chopped his mouth into place. So I do like that, definitely. I love the fact that it's got these kind of patterns, you know, going on. Kind of wood patterns shown engraving. You can see it even on the top here as well. So that's definitely cool. I definitely like those slight little touches that they tried to add right here on his butt as well. You could see it right there. So I do like those slight things, but overall as a package, he is a little bit disappointing. He's got a little bit of a mole here, I think, on his nose as well, which, I mean, it sucks to be Stumpsmash. I feel bad for the guy. I definitely feel bad. I feel like he's going to be kind of like the black sheep of the Skylanders family from now on. So that kind of definitely sucks. So he has a lot of character, which is so odd, because usually I love when the sculpt has a lot of character. I'm like, okay, that is awesome. I love that it's got his own personality kind of shining through. But he feels a little too generic. He feels like he's just probably had like the least amount of cash left to produce him. Like, they didn't have a lot of sculpting money, so they just kind of said, hey, make us a wood looking character. And then on top of that, having played as T-Rex, I think that kind of spoils your experience playing as Stumpsmash, because you already have this amazing kind of like wood type looking you know, character, and you're like, T-Rex is way better, and he's designed cooler, and he's got really cool paint job to look like realistic wood. And Stumpsmash, just a little bit underwhelming. That being said, his base is just the basic base for the Life Skylanders. So let's go ahead and place him on the Portal of Power and see how he fares there. Let me actually bring that up a little bit so you guys can see it better. So as you can see, of course, the leaves, in my opinion, with the next iteration of Skylanders, which is of course Skylanders Swap Force, I hope that the light up gimmick is taken to the next level in terms of just make the bases translucent. If the base is completely translucent, then this light can shine through and it looks much cooler when you're placing the character. It definitely looks like it's actually coming to life instead of just having the bottom right here light up, which is cool, but in my opinion, it's kind of a missed opportunity. I'm not sure if it's a financial thing, like they can't afford to use translucent plastic. Maybe it's expensive. Who knows? Maybe it's just because there's a lot of technical components inside, like a chip or something. Who knows? But I'd really love for them to figure out a way to have the light up gimmick appear more often, even on the basic figures. So there you have it, guys. We took a look at his figure form. So now let's go ahead and cut to some of Stumpsmash's Gameplay.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Let's go ahead and take a look at some upgrades, of course, stats, and finally conclude it all with some exciting gameplay for Stumpsmash. So first off, let's look at his statistics. As you can see, he primarily specializes in armor, which perfectly makes sense. Of course, he does look like a much more kind of defensive character than he would be an offensive one, even though he does have giant hammers on his arms. Now, one thing that I like to point out about Stumpsmash, if anyone ever at a McDonald's or at a Burger King needs him to, you know, like flatten meat or anything like that, you know, pulverizing meat, perfect employee. Probably will be employee of the decade with those things on his hands. But of course, let's go into his upgrades. Primarily, that's all there is to say about his stats. And I will right away want to point out one thing about Stumpsmash, especially in the gameplay department. He is the most useless character. Wait with your hate comments until you get him powered up. Because as a basic character, without any upgrades, he's super slow, attacks don't do enough damage, and just a really, really boring character to play as. But once you start upgrading him, he gets far, far better and actually becomes a very, very interesting character to play as. So let's go ahead and look at his upgrades. We've got Pulverize, which is just a basic attack, but you already right away get a combo with it, which is nice diversity of gameplay. We've got When Acorns Attack, which allows you to spit out acorns at your foes to slow them down, which is pretty gosh darn useful. Petrified Pummel, which makes your pulverizing stump fists even stronger, which is fan-flippantastic. Now, the acorns do not only slow down, but now do increased damage thanks to being spiky acorns. And I always thought, isn't it disgusting? Like, imagine how painful it is for him to, like, regurgitate like things that have giant spikes all over them. Speaking of things with giant spikes, he likes to regurgitate a giant mega nut, which allows him to do a ton of damage, and basically it actually lasts for a long time on the field. And it is pretty useful, especially if you start pushing it around the field and kind of in a much more limited capacity. But you'll see the gameplay in just a moment. Finally, the final upgrade before the path split up is Thornback, which basically, every time that he gets hit, actually, you can see thorns basically all over his body, and those thorns shoot out and hit enemies, which is pretty gosh darn useful, especially because he's such a slow character. It's nice to have an attack that does close-up damage when he is hit by an enemy. Then we've got the split up for the pathways. So the bottom path has Pollen Plum, which basically, the acorns now explode, and when they explode, basically oh my goodness plants grow on all nearby enemies, and I mean, it sounds cool. There's a lot of cool attacks in the bottom path, but I think the top path is more useful for Stumpsmash, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We've got the Mega Nut Propagation, which basically allows the Mega Nut, when you hit it, it will explode into multiple little acorns, which is pretty useful. But again, you have a kind of a variation on that attack, obviously, in the top path, which we'll see in just a moment. And finally, Double Nut, insert dirty jokes there, and allows him to spit 2 acorns at once. And you see, for example, like these 2 upgrades are kind of become inapplicable when you look at, for example, this upgrade right here, which is Wow Pow Autonauts, which yeah, that's there's gonna be a lot of nut talk in this one, so I apologize. Basically, if you hold X, you're able to spit out rapid series of nuts, and I mean that kind of covers this. So I don't really get that. And the Mega Nut Propagation, I think that this is pretty much a stronger version of that, especially because, again, it's really nice to have a close range attack with a guy who is very, very slow. So it's really handy to have something like this. Speaking of the top path, let's go ahead and take a look at the other attacks. This is the reason why I chose the top path, was the 2 different combos really add a lot of value to Stumpsmash, and I think that this is the main attack that I always use, and I love this upgrade very much. So we've got the Stump Fist Charge, which is amazing. You'll see that in just a moment. And then we've got also the Stump Fist Spin, a little less impressive, but also very handy, especially if you're getting surrounded by a lot of chompies. Definitely handy to have that attack around. We've got the Acorn Croquette, which basically allows you, oh sorry, Croquette, not Croquette. Allows you to basically, by hitting B once you've launched your Mega Nut, actually allows you to then launch it at enemies or the enemies that it's facing, so it's pretty gosh darn useful. And then finally, Smash Mega Nut. By hitting the Mega Nut itself, instead of blowing up into multiple acorns like Mega Nut Propagation, this one just simply blows up and does a good amount of damage to the enemies around. Finally, the final upgrade that we have not yet covered was Waterlogged, which basically allows him to float on water bodies. So if you're competing on an arena against one of your friends in Skylanders Versus, if that arena has water, definitely take advantage of that, because it's definitely one of those upgrades that allows him to be a much more competitive competitor, I was gonna say, competitive Skylander in the game. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out, listen to this. If you thought your friends' burps were bad, imagine seeing those things. Why do they have to be so green and disgusting looking? Look at them. God. Okay, well, now that we did a perfect showcase of some nuts, let's get up here and let's show off some actual handy-dandy gameplay. So let's go to Brock's Arena. Gonna go into Stop the Spell, of course, our showcase arena for gameplay.
Alright, let's do it.
Alrighty, so here we go. So, of course, some of the upgrades are kind of difficult to showcase. It's just, for example, the upgrades to the stronger pulverizing fists. I can't really showcase it except for just showcasing you the basic pulverizing fists. And, of course, they're upgraded, so yours wouldn't do quite this much damage, but still very handy. So, as you can see right away, he is very slow. And the other thing about him, I don't know why, the way he walks looks to me like he's late to the airport. Like, look at him. He looks like he's late to the airport and he's running with his briefcases and he's like, oh no, 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 I have to get there quickly before Bash gets there. I really would love to see a cartoon series with Bash and Smash, Stumpsmash. That would be amazing. Imagine that. The Adventures of Stumpsmash and Bash. Alrighty. So that's the basic attack there. Now let's, of course, the combos. We've got the first combo, which is this one. Basically kind of smashing your enemy, imagine, into paste. And then my favorite attacks, well, I'll show you first this. There we go. And then we have... Okay, there we go. Did you see that? That's amazing. Like, look at this. How cool is that? Like, you literally get to be a drummer all of a sudden. Then this is the spinning fist attack. So that was another combo there. And I think that that's all as far as the fist attacks go. So now I guess let's show the acorns. So we've got this throw up acorns, which... they're very difficult to control, that's for sure, because, like, for example, you see I'm standing in front of this guy, yet I'm unable to hit him for some odd reason. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Come on, throw up acorns on them. So that's the small acorns that launch. They're pretty cool, but again, I don't use them very often, I'll be honest with you guys. I primarily use the stomp attacks as my main form of attack with him, personally. Again, I think that it's the most useful. And then the other thing that I like about this attack is that it allows you to move out of the way. Like, for example, if this guy, look, he's about to launch an attack, I can use this to run away from the attack. You see that? Like, how handy is that? Now, of course, finally, we've got the Mega Nut, which you can literally kind of roll around. Well, he's gonna... oh, gosh. You see, that's what happens when you pay too much attention to the what is called? To the upgrades and to the attacks instead of the actual arena that you need to complete. But, of course, I'm going to show you Mega Nut right away, and then we'll just pause and... because we're not going to do the whole stage all over again. So this is the Mega Nut. Basically, of course, it does regular damage just by running into enemies, which is pretty handy. Definitely cool to have that. Alright, let me get rid of these fools. Like, look at that. Did you see that? Like, how much damage was that? That's amazing. I love it. That's such a cool attack. But then also, of course, we have the ability to launch it towards enemies with holding B or whatever button combination it is for you. So I launch it. And then I could also blow it up like that, like you saw right there. So, for example, launched, wait, boom, blow it up. It does a good amount of damage, definitely handy. And that pretty much covers it. Of course, the ability to go on water is definitely handy to heal up. Sometimes, I don't know, like, sometimes on the ship it does work, I'll be honest with you guys. I think it was Gilgrunt that it worked, like on these little bodies of water it worked. I don't know why with Stumpsmash it doesn't work, but I'm serious, with Gilgrunt, when I stand over these water, like little water puddles, it actually heals him up, which is pretty handy. But overall, Stumpsmash is definitely one of those characters that is... at first, really underwhelming, but slowly, there's just a lot of cool little things that I've come up for myself, for him, you know what I mean? Like the giant briefcases, like look at him running, like that would be amazing, him going through the airport. And I don't know, I always love when I have people over or something like that, and when we play co-op, I have him and the Bash always going together, because, I don't know, I just have a feeling like they would be like really cool buddies or something, and they would kind of always argue, and it'd be pretty hilarious. But overall, I'll give Stumpsmash, after everything considered, the design that was a little underwhelming, well, not a little, very much underwhelming, a very plain and boring design. At first, I'll be honest with you guys, when I just started to play him, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be my worst rated Skylander. I'll give this guy maybe at best like a 4 out of 10. But slowly but surely, he's grown on me very much, and that's why he's going to earn himself a 7 out of 10. Yes, it's not a high rating, but I think that everything considered and what he's able to do, I think that's a fair rating. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, of course, leave your opinion, thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of Mr. Trunks through the airport himself, or Mr. Disgusting Sounding Burps? Look at that. He's literally throwing up nuts all over the place. Insert dirty jokes there. Look at this. There's an overwhelming amount of nuts on this staircase. But, you could play bowling with this, too. You see, like, you could come up with so much hilarious stuff with him. Like, can we run this thing up there? Oh, never mind. Imagine if we dropped that on Flynn. He wouldn't be too happy. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Of course, leave your opinions and thoughts. Whoa! Did you see that? That's a ghost door. How the hell did that happen? Did everyone see that? That acorn went through that door. Okay, now that makes sense. But before, how the heck did it go through? There are ghosts on this ship, I tell you. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, I've been trying to conclude this for a long time. But this is exactly kind of why I like Stumpsmash somewhat. Because I always come up with like hilarious things, and hilarious stuff happens when I actually play as him. So I don't know. For me, he's definitely enjoyable, but definitely not a must pick up Skylander by any means necessary. Of course, if you're a Skylanders fan, then yeah, definitely go out and pick him up. Especially if you could get him in the triple pack, then he's very, very much worth the price of admission. But ladies and gentlemen, let your voice be heard in the comment section below. How would you rate Stumpsmash himself? Let your voice be heard, of course. And on top of that, guys, if you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, subscribe, share the videos, favorite the videos, and on top of that, by doing all those things, you show that you want to see more of these. Now, if you want to see any specific Skylanders reviewed, of course, in the comment section below, you could always leave those opinions and thoughts as well. Thanks a lot for watching this review. You guys are fan-flipping-tastic. Blitz when you're out. See you later. Peace out.